Test now. Tim, we can hear you and you can hear us. Yes, you can say your message again. Go ahead.
Happy holidays, everybody. And I will be sending a weather report, even though I'm doing work down here.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Tim. We didn't start the meeting yet. We're just waiting for Steve to arrive. Steven is the only one. He says momentarily. Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Chris. So we're going to just be a little bit delayed while we wait. We're not officially on, Tim, but thanks. We can hear you.
Okay. Try this out, Mary Joy. Just say something and make sure it goes on the speaker.
It's working fine for me on my end.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you very much. This evening we have 9 board members in attendance, 2 attending virtually, and we did a sound check to make sure that they could hear us and we could hear them. So Tim Carney and Mary Joy Reinhardt are calling in, and everyone else is physically present. We have a full house tonight. Thank you all for coming. This meeting is annually held, a reorganization of the board for the purpose of electing a president and vice president for a term of 1 year. And the first order of business tonight is to elect a temporary president to chair this reorganization meeting. And I'll be working off of a script. If this sounds a little stilted, we just work off of a script so we get everything right on this required meeting the first week of December. So may I have nominations? I open the floor for nominations for a temporary president.
I nominate Emily Gaiman.
Thank you. We have Emily Gaiman as first nomination. Any other nominations? Hearing none, is there a motion to close nominations?
Close.
Thank you, Mr. Carney, for the motion to close. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz. The nominations for temporary president are now closed. All those in favor of closing nominations for temporary president, please say aye.
Aye.
And I'm just going to wait so we have the 2 phone calls I didn't hear yet, unless my ears didn't. Do we have Tim and Mary Joy?
Perhaps it would be best if I call, is Mike there? Maybe
We're-
can call him because he's closer to you.
Yes, we hear you, or we could scooch the phone closer. Actually, does this work if I speak into the mic more, Mary Joy?
Okay,
Does that work
better.
for you? Can you
Much
hear?
better.
Or we can still switch phones.
okay.
Go ahead, Mike. Why don't you just call and I'll
Yeah,
hang
we'll
up.
just temporarily
Too far away.
close this out until we have Mary Joy back on the phone. We'll just give a little pause. But Tim, was your vote a yes or a no?
Yes, I can hear you, and I said twice yes.
Okay, I thought I heard you say yes. I didn't know if the room could hear you, but I'm pretty sure that everybody heard you that time. All right, thanks. We're just
Yes, Mary Joy, we're here on my phone closer to the front. Hopefully you can hear
Thank
us.
you.
Hi,
Yes, I
Mary
can.
Joy.
Thank you.
Is this better?
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, so you heard we're currently voting. We had 1 nomination and a motion and a second to close nominations for temporary president. And I said all those in favor, aye, opposed, nay. Could we have your vote on that item?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Motion carries unanimously. All right. Next order of business. I will now, as temporary president, open the floor to nominations for the office of president. Are there any nominations for president? Thanks, Tim. I didn't have my finger pressed on my mic. You can say that again.
I nominate Emily.
Thank you. We have a nomination of Emily. Any other nominations?
I nominate Eric Boyer.
We have a nomination for Eric Boyer. Any other nominations?
I'll nominate Tim Carney.
We have a nomination for Tim Carney.
I'll nominate Tim Carney.
Well, we only need 1 nomination, but thank you. Does the secretary have everything recorded for those items? Do you need any? You're good? Okay. Any other nominations?
Emily, point of order.
Yes?
While I appreciate the nomination, is there a way for me to not be considered?
You could say you refuse the nomination.
Yeah, before there's a vote, and thank you. I don't know who the first person was. I thought the second one was Nicole. I very much appreciate that.
The first,
I withdraw.
the first was Stephen Mond, correct, Stephen?
Hey.
All right.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that.
All right. So we have 2 nominations, one for Emily Gaiman, one for Eric Boyer. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, could I have a motion to close for nominations?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second? Thank you, Ms. Cruz for the motion and Ms. Torba for the second. We can vote a yay or a nay. All those in favor of closing nominations for board president, say aye.
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 We heard both of those. That was perfect. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. At this time, I believe we need to take a roll call vote. Is that correct, Secretary, Ms. Secretary? For the board president, I'm just going to go around the horn one at a time. So you vote yay or nay. I'll take them in order of nomination. The first person to be nominated was Emily Gaiman, myself. So we will do that that voting process first. And afterwards, we will do other nominee Eric Boyer because he was nominated second. I apologize. So
Will we have questions and comments?
there is, I believe it says this motion is non-debatable. Let me make sure that was for the motion to close. Hold on. Unless there's a motion to proceed differently, we will now vote for the candidates by voice vote. As I call the names of the candidates in turn in the order of their nomination, the board recorder will record the vote. So unless there's a motion to proceed differently, no.
Well, I make a motion to make comments.
There's
So
a
moved.
A motion and a second. All those in favor of comment at this time, say aye.
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 I heard 4 ayes. Opposed? Let's make sure I heard correctly. Could you please raise your hand? I heard. Yes. Restate the question.
This is a vote to have a discussion.
So this is
Yes, to have a
Typic-
discussion.
I
typically,
move to discuss.
yes. So typically, this script does not call for any commentary or discussion, but unless there's a motion to proceed differently. So Mr. Mon made the
Solicitor,
motion.
could you please, would you mind just comment?
Typically,
There's
you
no
just call.
discussion
No
at all.
discussion.
Typically not, but that doesn't preclude
Yeah.
you doing
Okay.
exactly what you are
Currently doing.
right now. I think you can comment and discuss. I wouldn't ask questions concerning their positions on things, but then comment. Okay.
So we have a motion to change the procedure, which is to enter into discussion. We have a second to have discussion. All those in favor of discussion said aye. Could you please indicate? I know Ms. Reinhardt said aye, but otherwise I have
Aye.
Ms.
Aye.
Reinhardt, Mr. Mond, Ms. King, and Dr. Wack are aye to enter into a discussion period. All those opposed to entering into a discussion period at this time?
Nay.
Nay. We have, I heard 2 nays. It's either this or abstention if you didn't vote yet. Now I don't see why you'd abstain. Oh, you said no? Okay, great. I didn't hear anyone else. I'm sorry. So I have, for the record, Ms. Cruz is a nay, Mr. Boyer's a nay, I am a nay, Mr. Carney is a nay, and Ms. Torba? I'm just, it's a yay or it's a nay or an abstain. That's where you are right now. Okay. So the motion to change the script fails, does not carry. Moving on, I'd like to call the question, call the vote in the order in which the nominations were received. Emily, I'll start on this side this time since I put Ms. Torb on the spot. As I call the roll, please voice your vote for Emily Gaiman as board president. Ms. Cruz.
Yay.
Mr. Boyer.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Carney.
Yes.
Ms. King. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot Mary Joy was there. I was going to get her with Stephen. Mary Joy.
Shouldn't the secretary be calling the roll call?
I'm sorry,
Sorry.
Joy.
Nay.
Nay, that's a no.
Sorry,
Nay.
shouldn't the secretary be calling the roll call?
I don't think it matters. And
Oh.
this is how we've done it before. I mean, the
So you're gonna
secretary's
be both
recording it.
secretary, president, temporary president, president again.
No,
Okay,
we're not
sorry.
discussing. Yeah,
Oh, no discussion. We're not allowed to discuss, right?
we're just going to vote.
Great, great.
It's all
Thanks.
good.
Thanks for communicating.
Ms. King.
No.
No. Mr. Mond.
Nay.
Dr. Wayak.
Not even close.
Is that a no?
It's an absolute no.
Thank you. Ms. Torba. That's a yes. My count, that is 5 yay, 4 nay. Motion carries. Does the board secretary concur and have all the information necessary? She's writing. We're going to give her a chance to make sure. Yes, you have the information necessary. 5 yay, 4 nay. Motion carries, so we do not need to continue to vote on nominations. That closes. Thank you. I will maintain the presidency for the coming year. I now would like to open the floor to nominations for the office of vice president.
I'd like to nominate Candy Cruz.
Mr. Boyer, thank you. Candy Cruz is nominated. Any other nominations?
Do you need a second for that or no?
Not for the nominations according to my script.
Gotcha.
Thank you, though.
I'd like to nominate Steve Mond.
I have a nomination for Mr. Stephen Mond. Any other nominations? Hearing none, could I have a motion to close the floor to nominations?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz.
Second.
And a second. Thank you, Dr. Wayak. I will now, a motion has been made and seconded to close nominations. I will now, unless there's a motion to proceed differently, we will now vote for the candidates by roll call voice vote as I call the names of the candidates in turn.
So I can make a motion for discussion?
Yes, you may, because unless there's a motion to proceed differently, if you'd like to make a motion to proceed differently as you did before.
Yep. No, I'd like to make a motion to discuss this particular nomination.
To a motion to discuss, I'm sorry, I missed that.
A motion to discuss the vice president
Vice
nomination.
President nomination. Thank you. Certainly, I have a motion for discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second for discussion for the office of vice president. I will call the question. Are we all clear on what we're voting on? This is a vote to see whether or not we are going to discuss the office of vice president. And I will go around the horn again. I'll start with Ms. Torba. Yes or no for discussion of vice president? Dr. Wayak?
Yes.
Mr. Mond?
Yay.
Yes.
Mr. Carney?
No.
Emily Gaiman is a no. Ms. Reinhartz?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Boyer?
Nope.
Ms. Cruz?
No.
Motion does not carry, 5-4. So now I continue. I will, in the order in which the nominations were received, ask for a roll call vote. First for Ms. Candy Cruz. I'll start. I've been starting at this end of the table, so I apologize. I'm going to call you first for Vice President.
Yay.
Thank you. Yay. Mr. Boyer?
Yes.
Ms. Reinhartz?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Carney?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. King?
No.
Mr. Mond?
Nay.
Thank you. Dr. Wayak?
Can I just clarify, who is this for again, for vice president?
Ms. Cruz?
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
I cannot vote for somebody who has missed 9 out of the last 18
There-
meetings. So that's a no.
Is that a no, Ms. Torba? Yes. That's a yes. Motion carries. I believe that time it was 6-3. Is that what you have, Board Secretary? Yes, and you have all the information you need? Thank you. Thank you very much. So thank you. Congratulations to Ms. Cruz on holding the office of the Vice President for the coming year. I believe that concludes my script. Yes. Now moving back to the agenda. All right. The depository, item D, depository resolutions. The administration recommends the authorization for the board recorder to execute and submit the standard resolutions, signature cards, and any other forms necessary to reflect the changes in president, treasurer, and secretary with the district's depositories, and also E, facsimile plates. The administration recommends authorization to use facsimile signature plates for the offices of the president, treasurer, and secretary when signing school district checks. This request is necessary each year when officers of the board change. I need a motion in a second, is what we're looking for, correct? Could I have a motion for items 3D, depository resolutions, and E, facsimile plates?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Boyer. Any questions on these items? It's an annual standard procedure. Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? I believe motion carries unanimously. Ms. Reinhardt, are you still there? Okay, I just didn't hear you. My apologies. Yes, motion carries unanimously. All right, now we have on our agenda for information only field trip requests. That's for information only. You can look at those at your leisure. And I do not believe anyone else has signed in the interim to address the board. Nope, I just refreshed and that is still the case. And so I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
Excuse me, Ms. Gaiman.
Certainly.
Is it out of order to ask for other business questions that's not on the agenda? That's typically on an agenda.
Yeah, it's not on this agenda. I'm not sure why, other than a reorg. But if we'd like to insert new business or old business, certainly
I'd just like
I'm
to
open to that.
make some clarifications on my votes, please.
You're welcome to do so.
Thank you. I take the vote seriously. I take my votes seriously to myself and what I see. And the reason for saying no, primarily for the president position, is that we've had actually yourself as a president 3 consecutive years in the past, as well as you were here last year. So you've been president 4 different times, 3 of which have been consecutive. And we had Ms. Reinhardt's for 2 years straight. And I feel we need to get back to order on annual change of president. We have 9 board members here, and it's customary and typical for many boards in the school board system, at least in our Commonwealth, that we have rotating presidencies. And I think that it should be rotated. So therefore, I voted no. Regarding the vice president position, again, I feel as if that should be recirculated through the board members. And I have had, just for the record, some slight concerns about the attendance of certain members. And, I think that can be challenging depending on whether or not somebody is here to run meetings. So those are my 2 reasonings. I wanted to put that out there, and I appreciate your time.
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Mon. All right. Any other new or established business? Since we are speaking, I would go ahead. I was going to announce the next event we can hear down the hallway currently. I would be remiss to not say that if we're opening it up to a new business. But Ms. Torba, you have something to say.
Just want to note, I know we're soon to be in a holiday season and a long winter break. Wishing you all a nice holiday break that also is coupled with budget season. Yay. I do want to note, not the last meeting, was it 2 meetings ago, and where our principals spoke about their buildings and reflected upon our student growth and our student achievement. I'll use Lou Pepe's phrase, it's the Super Bowl of school board meetings. It's a lot of information. I learned a lot. We heard a lot. And there were several takeaways, and one takeaway, that the theme that I kept hearing was the support our staff need for our students. And that is our business, our students, to help them meet them where they're at, to help them progress towards their not only academic growth and achievement, but to become young, fine citizens of our community. And what I was hearing was their support that is needed. So as we are rolling into budget, I'm looking forward to learning what we're going to look at to fill those supports that we heard from our principals, how we're going to fund that, and the different ways to accomplish meeting our kids where they're at and helping them progress. Just it's budget season, and that one seemed to hit with the Super Bowl of school board meetings. So I look forward as we roll into 2025, hearing those discussions and looking at ways to fund that support that our buildings so need, whether it's additional staff or what the case may be. But I heard it loud and clear, and I hope my teammates here heard it loud and clear as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or new business or old business?
If I
I
may
have
first,
comments. I have comments.
Yes, just one moment. Wait, one moment, your joy, while we mic you up. Just a moment. Okay, go ahead. Proceed.
I would like to echo the information that Mr. Maud shared with the group. I think that we need to have a policy revision with regard to the president and the officer positions for Southern Lehigh. For 40 years, prior to your having continuous terms as president in the previous administration, Emily, Ms. Gaiman, the board president and the officers turned over every year for a very good reason. And I served as president for 2 years, and in retrospect, I think that was not a good decision. I think it should have turned over after my first term or first year. So I would like the board to really think about that in terms of new business and policy revision for board operating procedures. I also would like to echo Mr. Maud's concern regarding attendance at meetings. While I'm remote today, and I know others have been remote, it is really important to be present. And I know at LCTI, you know, if there's not a physical quorum present, you can't have a meeting, you can't have a vote. So I think we really need to kind of look at our board procedures for participation to ensure there's active integration, communication, and participation on a regular basis.
Yeah, just like LCTI, just the thank you, Ms. Reiners, for your comments. LCTI requires a physical quorum to be present to conduct a meeting. So to do our policies state that as well, just for clarification. But thank you for your comments. Any others? Hearing, Yes.
Seeing no others from the board, I just wanted to first congratulate Mrs. Gaiman and Mrs. Cruz for your willingness to take on this leadership role. We have lots of exciting work to do in 25, 26 when we're back, and we're looking forward to doing that. And Mrs. Torba, in response to your thoughts, concur entirely. We are formally kicking off budget discussions in our work session in January, where our auditor will be visiting to present the audit report, which has been completed and very positive. And then we also hope to follow that up. Our senior administration staff are working on a presentation that says where we've been, where we are, where we wish to go, and how the budget will drive to get us there. So we very much hope to frame those conversations in our work session in January to set up some really constructive interactions among our board and staff as we head into the spring to approve our budget.
thank you.
And we do have wrestling time. I'm sure you're going to mention that.
I
Mrs.
was,
Gaiman,
what
but
I was going to say is
very exciting
basically
night here too.
a happy holiday. I wish to echo the sentiment already stated. We hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving break, and we hope you enjoy the upcoming breaks of the season. This is our last formal board meeting of the school year of the entire year of 2024. So we wish you all safe and healthy and happy holiday season. And also, but however, over the holiday season, over the holidays, our schools are still up and functioning. So I encourage you to check out sporting events and the schedule, because even though we might have a different schedule, our different teams, both academic and athletic, are still competing. And as I commented earlier, we can hear from down the hallway, we have girls wrestling going on. It's the opening season of that tonight. So we wish everyone the best of luck in their endeavors over this holiday season. And at this time, I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Boyer. We are adjourned. Thank you to Mr. Carney for tuning in remotely and to Ms. Reinhardt for tuning in remotely.